Okay, so let's get started. My name is Marc. I'm working at Mobile Solutions, which is also one of the sponsors today. If you ate something, you know. And I'm also one of the organizers of the Google Developer Group Rhein-Main. And so let's get just started, deep dive into how do we make websites or web pages faster, and how do we make our apps faster on the way. We live in the future. We have information, large information, available, instantaneous, at our fingertips, with our phones and everything. But, so we have it there all the time, whenever we need it, wherever we are, or that's what we think. Because the problem is, websites today are slow. They're really damn slow. Why is that? So right now, if you load the average website, it takes around 7 seconds to load. This is really bad. This is a really bad user experience, and we all could have some improvements here. So, why is this like that? First of all, we all have our mobile phones. We have our smartphones, which are really intelligent and only last for a day, but we don't give anything about this. We have all these smartphones which are operating on mobile networks. These mobile networks are damn slow. They're slower than our comfy home networks. So at home we have maybe a 50 megabit connection. Okay, if you're living outside, maybe a 6 megabit connection, but at least it's sort of stable. And on mobile we have all these mobile data networks which are only 7.2 megabits or worse, like on 2G or Edge. And mobile also comes with mobility. So we travel a lot, and we use the phone all the time, wherever we are. So if you ever traveled from Munich to Frankfurt, or for example, from Frankfurt to Darmstadt, the connection always drops. This is really bad. Second thing is, we live in a multimedia web. So the average website right now has 42 resources. We have lots of images. We consume more YouTube videos and everything all the time. So we have all these nice apps with JavaScript, with applications, and it's consuming lots of resources. So we have lots of resources per web page that have to be loaded. And I would call the third one laziness, because sometimes you know how it is. We are developers, we have to meet deadlines, and sometimes performance gets lost on the way. If we add another feature behind another feature, the performance gets lost on the way. One big thing to notice about mobile networks is that the bandwidth is one problem, but the real problem here is the latency, or in this case, the round-trip time. Of course, you all know the round-trip time is if we ping the server and the server answers back. And on mobile networks, this round-trip time is usually 100 milliseconds if you are on a good network, but if you are on a bad network, it's 600 milliseconds. And because of all these new because of these old protocols designed for home networks, these 600 milliseconds are a lot of time. So how much time do we have? There's some research going on, or was some research going on, for example, on Amazon. If they add 100 milliseconds to their pages, they lose 1% in revenue. Let me repeat. 100 milliseconds, 1% lost in revenue. So after 1 second, they lose 10% of their revenue. What happens after 10 seconds? Oh, wait. This happens. This video clip was only 10 seconds. It's fun to watch, I know. But let me show you again. So, again with my attendance. So you lose 10% of the revenue, 20, 30%, 40%, 50%, half of your revenue is gone. Let's stop. Okay. Basically, you're done. So 10 seconds is really not so much time. So of course, there's an exaggeration. This is only Amazon, but Usually, after 2 seconds, you can say 20% of your customers or of your visitors leave the web page. That's why we do care about speed. Of course, there are many, many possibilities to tackle this problem. We have an ocean of possibilities, and I will only concentrate on the basics here, because the basics are pretty simple. The first basic is avoid waste. Avoid wasting the user's speech with information he doesn't need. If the user doesn't need the information, don't show or don't load the information. One simple rule is don't load things you don't need, like in an HTML document here. We have lots of resources added to the web page, and sometimes in the development, some of these aren't needed anymore, but they're there. You didn't delete them. They are loaded to the user, so you have added like 300 kilobytes to the user, and it isn't needed. So it slows down your web page by 1 second or so, and it isn't needed at all. Please delete this. But in more cases, you have frameworks, and you only use 1 or 2% of the framework. So you have the large framework, and you lose only this tiny bit of the framework. There are tools for this, so you can compress the framework. You can leave the rest. We'll get to this later. Second thing about avoiding unneeded stuff is, if we have images, here's a cute cat. Looks nice. And if we only display a portion of this cat, like right now it's 300 pixels in width and height, and if we only show 100 pixels of this image, please scale it down on the server, because if you do, in this case, you can have 6 cats. 6 times the cuteness. So you have basically won a lot for performance. Unless you add 5 other cats, then you have basically the same performance, but let's forget it. Yeah, there are some 9 cats? Yeah, basically, I tried on my own, and with this special picture here, you're right, basically, but of course the compression works differently, so in this times it was a factor of 6. But basically it uses up only 1/9 of the thing. And this is something very common on the web. Like, I'm using my mobile phone, I'm surfing to a website. This website redirects me, because they don't like example.com. They redirect you to www.example.com. And this one, because it detects, oh, you're a mobile phone, I will redirect you to m.example.com, because this is our new mobile site. This is awesome, you have to check it out. The problem with this is you just added 4 round trips here. 2 DNS requests to ask about where the server is located, and 2 normal connection setups. Usually on fast mobile network, you lose 1 second here. 1 second for nothing. And on slow networks, let's say, your revenue is gone. So, compress everything. Like this cat, which is cute, should fit in this box, which it can, but unfortunately for the cat, we need a smaller box, because the compression algorithms improved a lot. We have nice compression algorithms today. So, what do you can compress? Like, on web pages, we have 2/3 of the images consist of images. Of the web pages consist of images. And there are new image formats out there, like, for example, WebP, which is a successor, you could say that, of all the other image formats out there. It supports lossy compression, lossless compression, it supports animation, so it supports everything that JPEG and PNG and GIF does, but in a smaller size. So this is really great. And you're not limited to 256 colors like on GIF, so you can have nice animations here. This is supported on Chrome and Opera, but if you have a server detection for the browsers, you can just deliver it directly to these browsers. And you can use this image format today in your native apps. So if you program an iOS application or Android, you can just add a native library, which is very small, and you can just use WebP images, and you just reduce your app size by 30%. If you can't use WebP, you can use some other image compression algorithms. Like on GIF, we only have 256 colors, and the images look bad because the algorithms were bad at that time to create GIFs. But PNG can too. If you, for example, have this image makes up only 30% of the original size. And this is really interesting because this is a PNG image because we need a PNG for the alpha transparency around. It's not a square, it's a circle. And that's why we need PNG here. And this image only has 256 colors. You can't even see the difference, only if you give it a really close look. And you just added, you just removed 60% of the size of this image. You can use it today. You can just try it, get your PNG files. You can try this out in your apps, on your websites. It's awesome. This is something you get for free. The server module, server compression, just install it. It takes 5 minutes of your time, and it compresses all the text files, like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and of course all your REST APIs, SOAP APIs, XML. It compresses all of that. For images and audio and so on, there are better algorithms. If you have JavaScript or CSS, you can also minify them. There are some algorithms like Uglify.js. It's really called that way because the code looks really ugly after the process, but it's really small in size. So they remove the white space, they refactor the variable names, and this is going to lead to a much smaller size. You can also use for JavaScript like a Google Closure compiler. It has a tree shaker, or it is a tree shaker. So like this, you can take a library like jQuery and throw 90% out. The 90% you don't need, just throw it out. You can just compile your JavaScript code to a smaller JavaScript code because it throws away all things that are not needed. And new languages like Dart, they just compile it to JavaScript per default with the tree shaker. So the end file size only contains the stuff you need. Prioritize. Focus on the content. What's the content? It's not is it the logo of the website? Is it the advertisements? Or is it the sidebar or anything? No, it's the content. So you have to focus on the content, and the content first. Give the content to the user to keep them attracted. So if they're attracted to the content, they might stay on the web page. If you take too long for the web page to load, then they will go away. And you can delay anything else. You can delay the advertisements, you can load scripts asynchronously, you can delay the sidebar, you can even delay the company's logo in some cases, if your marketing people are okay with it. And you can optimize the critical rendering path. So the critical rendering path is just the thing the user sees as soon as the web page gets loaded. So you can think of a web page as two contents, the above the fold content and the below the fold content. The above the fold content, which is the critical rendering path, is the thing shown to the user the first time something gets rendered. And if you optimize this, then the user has a big win. You can also prefetch information, like if you have another page where the user is very likely to go to, like you have an article and you have 3 pages. I think you shouldn't do that, but if you do, then you can prefetch the next web page by using prefetch. And the browser decides for the user if this web page is going to be preloaded. And you can also prefetch images, whatever you want, but only if it's useful. Then there are some tricks which are truly magical. Like you can change the UI, you can change the user experience for the users to make the experience much better, that the user doesn't think he uses a network. And this is really great. This is really bad. If you can avoid it, you should, because this is always grabbing the user's attention. It's circling, it's running in circles, and it says to the user, okay, stay here there's something coming, I'm loading. It's going to be there in 1 second, no 2 seconds, no 3, or maybe anything. No, I'm not going to load it anyway. So if you have this in your in your application, and if you can remove it somehow, I will show you how that goes in the next 2 slides, then you have a big win for the user. Because, let me go back. If the user focuses on this one, he keeps the screen on, and he's still giving his attention to this circle. Even if you show something, he's giving attention to the circle because it's moving. This is a very bad idea. Don't let the user wait. Google Plus and Facebook have very good like and Google Plus 1 buttons. If you click them, you all know the animation. Like on the like button, there's something coming blue, and it says, okay, there are now 1,405 likes instead of 1,404. And on the Google Plus button, the whole thing is doing a push animation. And it doesn't depend on the network at all. So the network can take 10 seconds for this connection to be finished. But the user can still use the application. He doesn't even know there's a network request. He can just push it. There's an animation. He's saying, oh, okay, I did the +1 here. I did the like here. So this is really something great. And always show something useful. If you show something useful, that's great. Like this is an application I wrote a few years ago, and it basically loads cartoons. And at the first beginning, if you open the application, it shows, okay, I'm loading the cartoons. I'm loading the new cartoons, but anyway. And then, after that time, it shows you the cartoons. But why not turn that around? So don't show the loading animation at all. Go directly to the content. Go directly to the newest cartoon available on the device already. So the user can start flipping, using the application. You can see, okay, these are all my cartoons. And then after 5 seconds, when the network request is done, there can an animation be coming in. Oh, here is a new cartoon. Check it out. This is something you just flip around, and you have a much more enjoyable experience. There are many tools to tackle the performance problem. Like, for example, a web page, which is called PageSpeed Insights, hosted by Google. You can just type in your domain, and it gives you this. So this is a really bad website in this case. It gives you a score on mobile and desktop, and more importantly, it gives you tips, how you can optimize your web page. And if you're good, you can try to get it up to 100%, and the website really much faster. This is really something you should try out on your own if you do web pages. If you don't have the time, you can install a server module, which is called Mod PageSpeed. It's available for Apache and Nginx, and it does most of the work for you, just by installing it. So give 5 minutes of your time, maybe 10 minutes more to test all of the website, and you're done. This has many things which it optimizes, and usually they're safe to do. So you can just try it out on your website. And there's a new HTTP protocol coming up, currently under the name Speedy. If you have the old HTTP protocol, 1.0 or 1.1, and you load 3 images from the server, they have to be 3 TCP connections. 3 TCP connections, so 3 parallel phone calls to the server. So, okay, say hi, server. Server says, okay, hey, Marc, how are you? And then I said, oh, I'm fine. Give me that content now. And basically in HTTP 2, the idea is to multiplex all these requests over 1 TCP connection. And this is really great because it gives you usually a 20 to 40% speed up just by activating Speedy. You can just install the server module again, like in 5 minutes, you're done on SSL-enabled websites. The Speedy protocol currently works on Chrome, Opera, Firefox, and Internet Explorer. Missing someone? Missing someone? So yeah, that's really great. Give the Microsoft guys a work. This is really great work. So, okay, no applause for Microsoft here. Safari is missing out yet, but I think they're catching up soon. The best thing about Speedy is you probably used it today and yesterday because Google and Facebook and Twitter all enabled Speedy without you knowing. You use Speedy all the time, you don't even know it. your web page just got 20 to 40% faster. Isn't that great? And you can do it too. And there are many other improvements there. And Google also works on something new, a protocol to replace TCP, let's say that. Because TCP, as I told, you have to do a phone call. You have to call to the server, hey, I'm Mark, how are you? Server has to say, hey, Mark, I'm fine, how are you? And then this is really something, as I said, this can take 600 milliseconds on mobile. And this is really bad. And quick gives you 0 round-trip time, or they're planning to get to 0 round-trip time, so you can have much faster websites. This was much information to take in, I know it. But if you take away one thing about my presentation is, please give performance a chance, because we all benefit from faster websites. Thank you. Are there any questions? Who wants to improve his web page after this? Oh, okay, 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, 5 people. Okay, I didn't count. Great. So, any questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Does TCP really have a command, hi, how are you?
Let's say that's a very high-level view on TCP. But
Okay,
yeah, it does.
okay.
It has a connection set up.
Synac.
Yeah.
Synac.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Web performance questions? Right.
Nope.
Should we test somebody's website? Like ad hoc, maybe? Do live demo of performance tuning? Oh, I think we've run out of time. What a shame. We'll skip the live demo. No, so Mark, I mean, what do people do wrong most of the time, you know?
What do people, again,
Do
please
wrong.
do wrong? What they do wrong is most of the time they add resources after resource, and they use their home connection to test the website, and
Yeah.
it's fast. Of course it's fast. It's working on your local machine. And then if they use it on the browser, on a normal DSL connection, yeah, it's fine. Could be better, but it's fine. They don't even try it on the mobile phone, on edge connection, on a really slow connection. And if they did, they would be shocked, I guess.
Everybody knows it's slower. Because everybody knows it's slow on the mobile.
Yeah, but that's something you know, but it's not really true, because there might be a small, very bad internet connection, but you can improve the websites all over, so you can make the web pages much faster, and speedy is one way to go there.
Okay, how will that new protocol get a 0 round trip?
So yeah, I just said, okay, if the TCP connection needs a certain ACK, then
Yeah.
the quick protocol just works off a UDP.
Yeah.
It just says, gives the server a UDP packet, and it just tells him, get me the HTTP document. And then the server can answer. So you can have the whole transaction, you can have the whole above the fold content in one round trip.
Okay. So, if
So
it's-
you still have to ask the server,
Yeah.
of course,
Yeah.
but there's no additional round trip before. So you can just ask the server to give you the information.
Okay, okay, good. So no handshakes.
No handshake first.
Okay, that's rather impolite. that won't work in England.
Yeah, in England there's HTTP 2.1.
Okay, that's right. Okay, so again, at the end, are there any more questions now? Okay, so at the end, the speakers are here, so you can grab them and ask them any questions you have. So a round of applause for Mark. Thanks very much.